Hi guys, this is Breaker and I'm back with not only a new intro template, but a replay from the casted section. Apparently submitted between, let me get a good look at the names here as I close my door and lock it, don't want to wake up the neighbors. The upper left hand corner spawning is our Terran. In the purple trunks I give you all eman. Very interesting name. And in the lower right hand corner spawning is our blue Protoss. I give you all Adonminus. Adonminus. The map we are on today is going to be Bel'Shir Vestige, and I'm a little curious to see just what this is going to be like for both players. And I'm thinking, did I slow this down? No, I didn't. Okay. I'm a little curious to see what we're going to have between both of our players, as this is a PvT. Mirror matchups can be, well, mirror matchup doesn't really apply to this, but as far as I'm concerned, if it's not Zerg, then it's all overpowered anyway. Lol, that was a joke. And that's a very nice graphic that we have here. This looks like a swan from eman. It really does. And thus far, let's go ahead and just talk about the map for a little bit, then I'll get back to whatever I want to blabber on about. As you can see, there is a pretty wide open-ish choke here, but of course that's not the choke. This is allegedly the choke right outside the ramp to the natural. In the context of PvT, that means you're going to have at least 3 sentries with about 100 energy on them to really easily, I guess, defend that or hold that off, or wait until you get a chance to warp in more reinforcements. But of course, that'll actually be on the south end of this map, as our blue toss is on the lower right end of the map. So it would be something along the lines of this. I do apologize as there's a glare on my monitor right now. Some GM Protoss won me with carriers. Lol. Okay. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and turn off the chat. No offense, guys. I don't want to ruin the fun. It's just that it'll take my attention away from whatever I'm trying to illustrate. But the very essence of TVP, I'm thinking it could be possible, simply given to the fact that we have a supply depot right here. That we're going to see a triple supply depot wall off, and then perhaps some kind of a transition into a 1-1-1 in the main. But it's just hard to say right now. Okay, now I'm leaning more towards that, what I just said, because we do see a reactor going down on this barracks. Meanwhile, the pylon is going down right outside the natural of Adonminus. Thinking this could be a sentry expand, possibly, but no, the first unit we actually see in production is a stalker. Both players, again, kind of going at it blind. Adonminus really has no vision of what's going on here, but eman also, it's about the same situation for him, but he's just going to go ahead and throw down an engineering bay here. The pylon is going to see that, and we have a probe coming to deal with that SCV just a teensy bit too late. Bel'Shir core comes out. It's going to try and stop the SCV and the stalker. Oh, the stalker missed. So no, it has vision. This is actually meant. He sees now that it was actually. Oh, not quite. Well, if he was paying excruciatingly close attention to that well, no, that SCV didn't catch anything coming from here. So for all he knows, it could actually just be a single gas. There's nothing to indicate that there is anything more than the infrastructure than what he's already scouted going down in the main. Meanwhile, we got basically a stalker and the mothership core going to town on what was a prosperous-ing engineering bay, a crippled engineering bay, if you will. Behind this, we do have Marines just backing up over here. And I'm thinking what we're going to see is this factory is going to go down on top of this barracks. Perhaps going to start cranking out double widow mines, but I don't know. It's also possible to see Hellions. We do have a single widow mine in production right now. We're going to see a bunch of defenses go down here pretty soon, I'm thinking. Stalker's coming in, poking up, and that was a beautiful concave by eman. Not even a single kill on the Marines here. That was pretty good, and he managed to pepper him away. But if that mothership core is not careful here, it could take a lot of damage. This is going to come down to just micro-nuisancing, if you will, from Adonminus, if you will. Again, no Marine kills yet. Time warp going down now. The widow mine not quite getting rolled. No, we have our Marines no longer moving slowly anymore. I'm thinking that widow mine probably wants to get a shot at that mothership core, but no, he changes his mind. Both of those Stalker's really low on health, but still no losses to our Protoss just yet. To our Protoss boss just yet. Yeah. Twilight Council now going down for eman. Excuse me, not eman, but Adonminus. I don't know why I said that. All I had to do was take a little glimpse at the upper right-hand corner of my screen, just a little bit. Upper right-hand-ish area. And both players playing the income game, if you will. Eman's actually pretty far behind right now. He's got a... I don't know, it's about to change, though. He did just land that orbital command over here. And there's a couple of mules on it as well. Now, we do have eman kind of moving out. He's got a medevac, he's got a couple of widow mines, and I think he's aiming to kill a few probes with them, but as long as there's one cannon in the mineral line at each end, I don't think we're going to see any safe burrowed widow mines. And if he's smart, he will take the cannons and he will try to get them to target down the widow mines. Now, we do also have Adonminus sending out a hallucinated Phoenix, trying to get a scout on what's going on in the main of his opponent. He's going to see that there are 2 barracks over here, 3 barracks over here, 1 with a reactor, and 2 of them with tech labs on it. So he's going to see that this is essentially going to be a bio follow-up. Meanwhile, lots of action going down at the natural. Widow mine's getting burrowed, but like virtually no worker kills. I mean, there was 1, and I'm thinking that it happened at the early stage of the game. I just knew there wasn't going to be any real damage being done because, of course, the last glimpse I had of Adonminus, there was a time, excuse me, not a time warp, but a mothership core and enough energy for a photon overcharge up here. What I'm thinking we're going to see from eman is perhaps him just waiting 60 seconds for that photon overcharge to go away, and then perhaps he's going to try and put on some more pressure, but no, it looks like he's backing off for the time being. Yeah. Meanwhile, behind this, we're having +1 in charge going down for our Protoss, as well as Templar archives being built, so he's going to need that AoE to be very, very frank with you all. Factory, barracks, and stim and combat shields are being researched at the same time. Combat shields is going to get a huge lead over Terran infantry weapons level 1, but hold on. Lots of times I've seen this before, and I'm thinking this could actually be a stim +1 timing attack that we see eman gearing up for. But he's just going to have to be, I want to say, super tedious with that, and we're going to have to see him move out in the next 20 seconds for something like, no, not 20 seconds, 30 seconds max. 30 seconds and counting max for this to really be effable. And what the Scouting Phoenix saw was that there was in fact a 3rd command center in the main, as well as a few Marines and Marauders, as well as Widow Mines and Medevac. So not really too much in the way of damage or pressure being put on just yet, and we see Adonminus just moving out over here, making sure his 3rd's going to be clear and the probe can be safe to deliver. Kind of like that methodical scout he made, if you will. But it looks like, no, he's actually having second thoughts about conducting any kind of timing attack. If it's not him, then it's definitely me. This would have been a perfect time for, you know, him to move out and try to make some damage happen with, you know, +1. Oh wait, did I just call that out right or wrong? No, maybe we just see eman getting comfortable enough to move out now that he has stim, now that he has combat shields, now that he has +1. You know, it's just all these things put together. I guess that just means he feels safe enough to move out now. If not, if he didn't have stim, I can tell you right now, there would be a lot of stalkers able to outrun him. But there's going to be a hallucinated Phoenix coming out here and getting a spot on these double medevacs, so it looks like that plan will be thwarted for the time being. And there we go, Bioforce catches onto it. The medevacs still have resumed actually their original course, but there's about 5 stalkers ready to greet them in the main. Right outside the natural, there's also a good deal of gateway units. eman getting ready to do, I think, perhaps double-pronged harass, double-pronged attacks. He doesn't know about this cannon in the main, but he's going to drop on it anyway, more or less. And there it is, poke at the 3rd. Huge tap going down at the main. And a few gateway units to warp in. A couple of Marines are going to fall here and there. But of course, if we see the main force of our Protoss get pulled out of position, that could be devastating. He didn't properly account for it either. I guess maybe he was thinking it was just a single medevac drop. Instead, it's a double medevac drop. And this warp in of gateway units should be able to deal with the problem. they do, but not without a few probes falling in the process. Look at that. You got 5 kills. Sure, it's relatively minor in the way of losses, but at the same time, when you're playing a game of economics and you're this far behind in income, 800 minerals, it really helps to have every single probe that you have. There's no other way to say it. Nexus over here is gonna be rather okay, I think. Nexus here is gonna be okay. Alright, and both players just kind of breaking away for the time being. Eman's just keeping his, trying to think here, that medevac right outside the main. I apologize, guys, I did have a bunch of carbohydrates before I started casting, so right now my head isn't too clear. And now we see eman doing a move that I kind of approve of, really. It's a kind of a low blow, but I like it. He's tacking on Hellbats. Hellbats will act as mobile tanks, if you will. I think they move about the same speed as siege tanks, but I can't say for sure. There's no way to tell with the ESL interface that I'm using right now. And it looks like there was another medevac drop attempt by our purple Terran, and it looks like it got thwarted by our blue Protoss bully from Ire. Meanwhile, we have another hallucinated Phoenix getting sent out, and personal cloaking is now being researched. That means there should be ghosts in the composition, as there are. We can see them. The question is, do they have enough energy for EMPs? Forge now researching +3 for our Protoss, and this could be really bad for Adonminus. He actually doesn't have any High Templar in the mix just yet, does he? Let's check this out. He does not, but does he have Storm? He doesn't have Storm either. He's already researched Blink. He's gonna have +3 weapons pretty soon. So that's gonna put him ahead in upgrades just slightly over our Terran. The Ghosts are moving forward, they're getting their EMPs. One of them splashes pretty okay. The Archons. This High Templar is moving forward. That's really dangerous considering. Oh! He just threw down a feedback on a High Templar, and that's about it. The Tarzans are moving forward, trying to get in as much damage as possible in their frenzied state of mind right now. And we do see a bunch of Archons trying to contribute to the DPS just as the Zealots are surrounding everything on the ground, and the medevacs are picking up into the main. Ooh, one full medevac gets shot down. And it looks like this entire attack by eman has essentially been shut down as well. He's actually lost a lot from that. He lost everything that he got. That was our first major engagement in this game. 6,267 resources our Terran will not be getting back. And finally, we see Psionic Storm being researched behind this, so we see Adonminus in a pretty okay position right now. But at the same time, our Terran is willing to take a 4th base. Adonminus' 4th base is already up. The problem with our Terran is he's going to be going dry in his main really soon. That's why, that's the biggest detriment to having mules as Terran. And if we see Adonminus push back right here, right now, this could be actually rather devastating because he's got nothing at home to deal with this drop that's headed his way. He's almost supply capped. And feedbacks are going down on everything here, but oh man, what about the warp-ins? It's hard to say. The 4th base could be in a bit of trouble, and meanwhile we have our Protoss moving on to the 3rd. Command Center and the Orbital Command both lift up, and it looks like this 4th is going to fall from our Protoss. Yes, unfortunately. He does recall just at the last second to take care of that, but our Terran still has 2 operational forms of income here. That would be one floating, burning Command Center, and another one, an Orbital Command that's safely off in the upper right-hand corner of the minimap. Now we do have our Terran getting ready to push back. It would be all the more wicked if he was pulling SCVs. Oh, and this is looking like an engagement that is not quite favorable to Adonminus. The Archons have to stay alive. The Colossi are out of position. There are no Vikings in the composition as well. But I'm thinking Adonminus might slowly but surely be able to prevail just a teeny bit over this. I don't know. The Marauders, they're stimming in, and it looks like the small Bioforce is going to pick off both of those Colossi. Adonminus is still in the game, sort of. But he's got to take that Expo back before his opponent does. We check the losses right now, it actually seems like eman is actually catching up in all aspects except for the number of units lost. And all these High Templar have just warped in at the wrong time. 3 of them still left. He's forced to cancel his 4th base just as his 3rd gets done landing and almost burns down. SCVs get pulled to pick it up. Meanwhile, his original 3rd is going to be swapped with what is now presently his 3rd. If we check the income tab right now, we see that he's a little bit ahead of his Terran opponent, but not ideally where a Protoss should be at this stage of the game. He should be at least 300 to 400 minerals ahead of his opponent constantly. Right now, he's borderlining his opponent right now. And Adonminus right now, if it comes down to unfavorable engagements in the near future, I just don't know who's going to quite come out ahead in this. The Viking is about to fall, it does, and it looks like we see, this is really back and forth. Both players, it's hard to say who's ahead in all of this. Now, sure, we have 4 mining bases for our Terran, especially, wow, with a crap ton of mules coming down, we're going to see the income skyrocket for our Terran right now by about 2,400 minerals. Actually, that's how many minerals he can get with all the mules that he did just call down. Presently, eman. The only thing he can really make with that is a bunch of Marines. He's making 7 at a time, 6 at a time, 5 at a time, and he's gonna get ready to push back really soon. Here we go. No ghosts in the composition. That's actually working in favor of Adonminus for the moment, but he's losing a lot of the 4 tanky units, and he's not moving his Colossi back. They're getting clicked down by all the Marauders. This is the most important part of the mix that he is losing right now. Oh my god, he's gonna have... These High Templar have enough for storms on them. He's using them. It's kind of getting burned, but it's just not quite working out. He's trying to use defensive storms as well, morphing the Archons at the last moment, trying to do what he can. This game is just on fire, ladies and gentlemen. It's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I think our Protoss is completely unaware of the fact that his opponent is not on 2 base. This is all he can see on his minimap. So he's thinking that it's just 2 base. Earlier, what he had done is he had forced like 2 bases to lift off, and that's the whole reason why he's in this position right now. Just, it's a matter of perspective. He thinks that his Terran opponent is on 2 base when in reality he's on 4. So this is actually working quite poorly to the detriment of Adonminus, but this will work in his favor, the 4th base that he has over here. Meanwhile, +3 is basically finished, and that'll heal everything up, or that'll work for everything on the ground except for the Hellbats. Meanwhile, we've got a 3 medevac drop that's about to go down in the main of Adonminus. He just, oh boy, if he's not careful here, the one thing he cannot afford to lose is any probes. Fortunately, he's almost out the main, so he's going to lose like nothing there. Of course, earlier when he lost his foot, he brought his losses to a grand total of 20 workers. Nexus in the main, gonna fall. And this is kind of reminiscent of a game between 2 Chinese pros. I remember the WCS China 2011. That was really something else. I remember I had to use a different streaming platform back then, not Twitch.tv or anything of that nature. There we go. It looks like everything is falling apart in the main. Just, those armored piranhas charging it, if you will. And now it looks like the 4th base of eman is going to get forced to lift off. The Zealots will slowly but surely be able to chase down some of these SCVs, but not all of them. So Orbital Command is lifting up and then going to the upper right-hand corner of the map yet again, if not just to a temporarily safe location. And now we're going to have eman go into an unfavorable position to engage, I think. Does he have any ghosts on the ground? He has 1 ghost on the ground in this composition, right here. He throws down an EMP. It's just it was a money EMP at that, because there's not going to be any storms available for these High Templars. Adonminus is actually going to get an unfavorable engagement out of this. Meanwhile, another drop going down in the main. DTs were called in to take care of it. And now I think if he throws those DTs at the 3rd base of his Terran opponent, he might be good to go. But for the time being, his opponent's main army had basically torn his up. Lots of DTs warping in, as they are the cheaper alternative to getting Archons as opposed to High Templars. Also High Templars in situations where their storms don't prove useful, you could end up losing... You could end up spending 150 gas on something that you really didn't need to. Here we go. No EMPs in the mix over here. It looks like we're going to have all of this Terran army stimming up and chasing, or moving away from this entire ball of Protoss Fury known as Archon Zealot. Scan going down, getting the DT, and it looks like the Archons turn around to re-engage. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. There's one's almost out, and it's gone. Armored Piranha's coming back to reinforce, and they all target down the Archons. and the Marauders are able to deal with the Zealots quite aptly, smoothly, easily. Anything in betweenly. And really, I think this game is getting close to the GG. And I better quit sounding like I'm doing a spoken word poem, because that's what I was doing earlier in class today. Pylon gets taken down. The Templar Archives was rebuilt, and it looks like the probes are being pulled to another location. This is only going to buy them time before they're finally dealt with infinitely and forever. The medevacs, oh man, they're gonna have vision of those probes. The question is eman really concerned about them? It looks like no. As long as he's got as long as he's got the method of dealing damage to his opponent, he's going to do it. And if this Nexus falls, I think, you know, we're going to see what a position where he may not be able to hold. But it does fall. There's no energy. Yeah, I think there's enough energy on these High Templars. No, not Storm just yet. But, oh, man, he's got to hold on just a little longer. Beautiful Storm number 1 by Adonminus. Beautiful Storm number 2. Beautiful Storm number 3. But I'm thinking slowly but surely what we see from Protoss is going to fall apart. Yes, and Archon is in the morph fix from those leftover High Templars, and slowly but surely everything from Protoss is falling apart. Again, we have Adonminus doing what he can to put on some aggression, and now he's just like, okay, great, I gotta pull everything back now to deal with what's coming my way. And that's true. If he loses this Nexus, though, I'm thinking it could be GG. There's no way he's gonna have any economy whatsoever. He won't be able to even mine minerals. Those probes have to take 4 to a Nexus, and he's going to be revealed pretty soon, even if he can hold this attack. I don't see it happening. Give it about 15 seconds, and you guys will see that this is it. We essentially have Adonminus on his last stand. I want to say that the biggest mistake that he made this entire game was simply, there it is. He knew it, he knew it, he knew it. Yeah, let's go back and get a look at that from his perspective. He should have been getting, he will be revealed in 9, 8, 7, 6. Not pretty. So he just knew there was no way for him to hold on. He's like, okay, well, I got all these probes. Well, I don't have any money. Has not rebuilt their base, and it's being revealed. And of course, this orbital command, as well as the one in the main, could have simply floated back down here to relocate, or over here to this location, and got the income back up to skyrocket. But this is now skyrocketing. Well, that basically pioneered his income for the last push from eman. Yeah, that's right, guys. Protoss overpower. Mule, strong unit. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. If you guys liked what you saw here today, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button. This has been Breaker. I'll see you guys next time.